West Hill United is a progressive spiritual community where how you live is more important than what you believe. West Hill United is a people, a place, an idea. We are a community living out of a progressive faith, striving to make a positive difference in our own lives, the lives of others, and the world. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. or connect with us at any time.
After the readings, we customarily say offered as wisdom for the journey, and people are invited to respond with the phrase, "May we walk in its light." The reading this morning is from a man who was born exactly 1 century ago. He was a young child at the end of the he was a young child just after the First World War, and of course a teenager by the time of the Second World War. He was actually born in Los Angeles, but his parents and family were Italian, and he certainly went back to Italy from time to time. He's been a scholar, a writer, speaker, and a bestseller. But the reading that we're looking at this morning, I guess, comes out of all of that experience: distress, discord, violence, and so on. And here's what he had to say. Felice Leonardo Buscaglia. Loving each other. We've obviously not learned much over the years, and we have not paused long enough to consider the simple truth that we humans are not born with particular attitudinal sets regarding other persons. We are taught into them. We are the future generation's teachers. We are therefore the perpetrators of the confusion and alienation we abhor, and which keeps us impotent in finding new alternatives. It is up to us to diligently discover new solutions and learn new patterns of relating, more ways conducive to growth, peace, hope, and loving coexistence. Anything that is learned can be unlearned and relearned. In this process called change lies our real hope. Offered as wisdom for the journey.
May we walk in its love.
It's my second time through, and there's still things I want to go back and think about a little. I just have a couple questions for you before we go. What kind of people do you feel, what kind of people get hate mail? Where are people sending people? And we've known some of them, and we've known some of them well in politics. Very often it's because of a political stand someone has taken, or a social stand. Stand about race, stand about gender, stand about sex, and they've made it public. They've been brave enough to make it public, and all of a sudden they'll get the response. And most people get more negative responses than positive, because the positives don't think maybe to send it. We've had a voicemail left on the church phone many, many years ago saying, "Whoever the minister is, I hope you and your children burn in hell for the stand you are taking." Fortunately, not believing in hell, it didn't scare at some level, but it was a very heavy message to receive, and much slur and hatred came from that stand. But you've probably known people that have tried to make a difference in your neighborhood or whatever. When we were doing the group during COVID online for support, one of the people from the southern states talked about getting hate mail because she put a sign on her lawn for the candidate she would like to see in power, and it didn't match all the rest of the signs on the block, and so the letters came to her box with insulting words about someone that could choose someone like that. And so often it's for a stand. We've got people at my work who have had pieces of paper slipped to them with some of the most terrible combinations of words to object to. And sometimes, and I've seen this and you've seen this, they're objecting to that person shining a little brighter than the other people and raising the bar and making them look bad. So they receive a letter. So on my next question, have you ever received a letter or a communication that was particularly insulting or defaming or difficult to see? Or maybe it was a phone call, maybe it was a conversation. It could have even been something in the lineup at a grocery store, and someone sent a jab, sent an insult, sent a demeaning comment to you. And there's a phrase that was often used by our parents, or people tell us how to cope with it, and would often be consider the source. Consider the source. However, there is a judgment in that statement, because what we're really saying is, well, that kind of person would do that sort of thing, and so we lower them so we feel better again. Nothing wrong with the statement, but there is that level of putting the other person down, because it kind of feels better if we sort of lower that, and then we're back on a more equilibrium there. And this is all of us, right? Not just public speakers or things like that. And you know, the other thing our parents would teach us and our workplaces would teach us is there's a great difference between objecting to something and insulting someone for holding that opinion. I hope we never lose the right in Canada, in our neighborhoods, in our families, to object to something, to say, I seriously disagree with that idea or with that statement you just made. I object because and give a reason for it. That is a right, and I think a responsibility for us to do. But there's a very big difference between I object to what you're saying and I object to what you're saying, you idiot. It sounds fine for a minute, and also to express that you feel the person is an idiot without even saying the word, because you have a face and you have a tone that can communicate that. So there's that, how often have we sent a message that put them down because somehow we were either disturbed or intimidated or frightened or insulted by what they were saying? We can also be hurt by people's prejudicial actions. I love her phrase, to be vaccinated against people's prejudices. I love that sort of thing. Of course, that can get you into trouble. Just the word vaccination can divide people and opinions like that. So to be able to say, I object to the COVID vaccine because this and this, I do not. But I'm saying I have the right to say I object for these reasons, as opposed to that so-and-so government is trying to kill us, and how can they be? Like, there's a difference. And I love her other image of the trench and the bridge. The trench and the bridge. I'm not sure if that came across clearly. She's saying our prejudices have dug trenches between us, gullies, gaps, where often we shoot a comment or we receive a comment shot over that trench that hurts. And my question to you is, have you ever have you ever felt hurt by something that was said about you? And I'm just going to give two categories. Could be someone you didn't know very well. It could be someone at work. Could be someone far away in your community. But then there's also the ones that you knew well, and it hurt, or it stayed, and it was difficult. I'm struggling with a few of them myself. I know you are in life, have in life, struggled with things that were misunderstood or whatever. And this speaker had showed a bravery we won't need, because she stands up in Parliament and gives that. Although some of you actually went to Parliament and stood up for a very good cause, and were not praised for it in that meeting. So we all have experienced things for standing for our ideas. My father used to say, whenever I was disagreeing with someone, mostly my sister when I was young, but other people, he asked us to picture not the person, not even see the person, but place the person beside you and address the issue. In your head, place the person beside you and address the issue. So you're both looking at whatever it is, and you're not insulting the issue, so the insult has no place. And so that's a hard one. That's such a hard one, but it's a good image. Place, which what she was doing, place the people beside her, with her, and talk about the issues. So I thank John for choosing that TED Talk. The Elements Committee is the one that chooses or finds the speakers, with Annie as well. So Annie and the Elements Committee. So often the speaker that has come here, John or one member of the committee has already talked to and explained what we're about and what we'd like to hear from them. So I thank John for that and for introducing her, and to take away the idea of vaccinations against prejudices and building bridges across trenches.
Become a sustaining champion of West Hill United's work by committing to an automatic monthly donation. Learn more or donate now through Canada Helps.